Hi, it's Aston, the motorbike guy. I'm here to show you what it's like to take a tire off of a wheel using the Rabaconda tire device. Now, there's a ton of hype about this thing on the internet, and not only is there hype, but I have two friends, well, one acquaintance, one friend who bought these things, and they rant and rave about how great they are. And as you can see up there in the the middle of the frame toward the right, there's about 15 different tires that need to be on different wheels. Most of those are race takeoffs, and it's not convenient to use them if I can't mount my own tires. So I was actually really surprised by how fast and easy the Rabaconda was to set up and use. Having used conventional tire machines before, it all just kind of made sense. Even the instructions were pretty redundant. The instructions for putting it together, actually, they just amount to like, look at this picture and replicate what's in the picture. That's a fun way of writing instructions. And then the instructions on how to like dismount and mount a tire, they take a whopping 1 or 2 pages. So pretty interesting. But you can see me here. I about have the machine set up. It only takes about 2 minutes. Putting the bead breaker tool on, flipping it to the other side. Now I'm going to get the wheel and tire that I intend to remove the tire. So before I can remove the tire, I have to remove the valve stem to let all the air out, and then you'll watch me break the bead, which I'm going to struggle with a tiny bit. So here, let's let all the air out. Poof, there it goes. Now that all the air is out of the tire and wheel, I'm going to go ahead and try and break the bead. It can be a little bit tricky figuring out where to position the head of this tool. I try to position it as close to the rim as possible so that I'm pushing on the bead as directly as possible. And getting it perfect is difficult. You'll see me mess with it a whole bunch of times here. That's no slight against the actual device. That's just me not being super familiar with how to use it. If you'll notice, the entire thing took about 2 minutes to set up. It's going to take me about 4 minutes to get this tire off of the wheel, and then it'll take me another 2 minutes to break this machine down. In the meantime, and that includes all of this struggling with the bead breaker. So let's see if I can get it finally. It looks like it's where it needs to be. Now let's just push on it a little hard. There we go. There we go. It'll go. And got it. Now I'm going to spin it about a third of the way around. Do that again, once, twice, 3 times. And then I'll flip the wheel over and do it to the other side. So just looking at this, I call it a device or a machine. We're going to stick with device for the rest of this video, but just looking at it, it doesn't look like $700 worth of value until you realize like what it enables you to do. You combine that with the fact that local shops are getting $120 a wheel set to swap tires that you bring them. And I've already done, 2.5 wheel sets at this point, so we're up to, the thing is just about halfway paid for itself, and I haven't even mounted any of the wheels. I haven't even fit any of the wheels to any of the bikes to actually go and ride them yet. So as soon as I start riding them and smoking tires like crazy at the track, this thing's going to start paying for itself like really, really fast, and it works really well. So now I have the bead about broken on the other side, so we'll get to removing the tire here in a couple seconds. So here I'm going to grab some bead grease. This is a special type of grease that you use to mount and dismount tires. I'm mostly putting it on the edge of the rim and then the very edge of the bead. You don't really want to get this stuff on the sidewall, not the sidewall. You can get it on the sidewall, that's the whole point. But try not to get it on the contact patch of the tire. I can't speak for how slick this stuff is once you get onto a racetrack. Now I'm going to fit this really unique ratcheting duck head device, I guess is what you would call it. to the actual tire stand. And this is kind of where all the magic happens. You have to position it on the edge of the rim, and then you'll see me grab a tire iron here in a second or two. Before I do that though, I'm going to push the opposite side of the tire down into the drop center just using my hands. And then I'm going to grab my tire iron and I'm going to lever the first bead over the duck head of the ratcheting duck head mechanism that the Rabaconda comes with. And then you're going to see in a second, I'm going to forget the wheel stop, but I'll go ahead and throw the wheel stop in as soon as I realize I forget it. Oh, realized I forgot it. Spin it back to where it was. Now we're going to put the wheel stop in, and you'll see me spin the first bead off of this tire. So that's pretty cool stuff. Let's rock and roll. So the second bead is just like the first bead. You just bring the tire over to where it needs to be, and then you kind of lever your tire iron in there, throw it up over the duck head, and then spin this like magical ratcheting mechanism that just removes tires from wheels. It's amazing, and it rocks. It's banging. I love it. It's great. Prior to buying this device, I had 3 primary ways I used to swap tires on wheels. The first way was I used my buddy Jose's tire machine, and that worked well. It's just I had to coordinate with him, make sure he was available, make sure the machine was set up, and then I had to, of course, carry my tires and wheels to a separate location. Second way that I did it was by taking my tires and wheels up to Performance Cycle, but then I'd have to pay between $80 and $120 a wheel set to get tires mounted. It wasn't really cost effective, nor was it effective with time either. Third way was just getting them mounted at the track. There's usually somebody with a tire machine at the track. There's generally somebody selling tires, although the Dunlop situation in 2025 with the MRA kind of leaves something to be desired, which isn't, I mean, no slight against them. Nothing's ever perfect. So, but yeah, those 3 ways. This is much, much better. This will allow me to mount takeoffs whenever I want. I don't have to rely on somebody else. I don't have to rely on anybody else's equipment. It's going to be a huge addition to both my business and my racing program, if you want to call it that. But anyway, love the machine. I think it's great. I'm not sure everybody should have one, but if you're a track day enthusiast who accumulates takeoffs and you really want to use those takeoffs instead of throwing them in the trash, I think it's great for that person. I also think it's great if you live in a really rural area and you have a bunch of motorcycles and you're putting tires on them. You might have to carry your tires and wheels hours and hours away in order to get them changed. This machine might even allow you to become the go-to motorcycle tire guy in your town or region, depending. So anyway, I'm just finishing up, putting the machine in the bag. Probably saw me handle that wheel a little bit roughly. That's because that wheel's bent and it's going straight into the trash after this. So don't think that that's how I normally handle motorcycle parts. It is not. So with all of that said, hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, y'all have a good one. Bye.